I felt a lot of things. I felt foolish. I felt disappointed in myself. I felt regret. I felt ashamed. I felt like the only thing I could do at that time. Yo, what it do? Welcome to an episode of Let's Get Talking with Puzzy. I'm your host with the most, the man with the plan. You already know what time it is. So in this video, I'm going to talk about relapse, what causes a relapse, and try to answer a few questions at the end of the segment. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, click that notification button, like this video, feel free to comment, share this video on any social media platform of your choice, and watch the growth. When somebody who's trying to quit drugs feels bad, feels depressed, feels stressed out about some certain issues, and they decide to do drugs again, that process of them doing drugs is called a relapse. A relapse is common and normal. It happens to a lot of people that are recovering from drug addiction. I know most of you are now wondering why and how is it common. Here's an answer to that question. For somebody who's recovering from drug addiction and struggling with that problem, maintaining a sober life is an everyday challenge, so the potential for them having a relapse is always there. However, by knowing the signs that could trigger this relapse, you can avoid having one in the first place. Stopping to quit drugs is not easy. It's a process, it's a long process and a road to recovery. I talked about this in my previous video. You can go down to the descriptions and find the link to it where I talk about the road to recovery and what steps you need to do when you're in that process of recovery. Stopping to quit drugs is like trying to diet and lose weight. It's very difficult for you to learn to do things differently, eat less, cut some of your favorite foods down, and exercise more. It's very easy for you to slip up, eat too much, and gain that weight back, but you never quit trying. It's the same as trying to quit drugs. For people who are trying to quit drugs, they may get treatment and they may slip up and start using drugs again. It happened to me. That's the reason why I'm talking about relapse today. People ask me whether I have experienced a relapse, and the answer to that question is yes. The reason why I relapsed is because I slipped up. I kept that company that I had kept before I went into the detox program. I was in a bad environment. I wasn't fully focused. My mind wasn't motivated. Despite me having all that support from my families, I still had the relapse because I was only thinking about myself at that time. I wasn't thinking about how it's going to be like. It's important for you to know why you are remaining sober for the rest of your life. You need to make soberness a priority for the rest of your life, because not committing to soberness may lead you to having a relapse, and we don't want you to have a relapse after going 2-3 months of being clean. It just feels bad. That's the reason why I said after my relapse I felt regret, I felt ashamed, I felt all sorts of feelings. And you just need to stay clean. You need to know why you're staying clean. You need to know that after you going through rehab, whether you're not going to rehab but you decide to stay clean, you need to know that something good is always going to come out at the end of it. It's not going to be worth the long while of staying clean. It's always going to be worth it at the end of the day. The other thing I would say causes relapse is you not wanting to commit to soberness. So you see, you wanting to commit to soberness can help you avoid a relapse. But when you don't commit to you staying sober, you can go back to your old ways and decide to start using drugs again. You can also say something that causes a relapse is having bad environment around you, having to keep friends that would lead you to your bad ways. Those are the things that can lead you to having a relapse. I would also add on by saying depression. Now, get it through me, people. Depression, feeling depressed, is the most common cause of a relapse. A person battling from depression often uses drugs. Substance abuse and depression go hand in hand. They're like a phone and a SIM card, a house and a roof, a book and a pen. They go hand in hand. So, for you who's feeling depressed out there, you need to stay strong. You need to get help. You need to go for counseling if necessary. You need to just take away that depression and put in positive thoughts into your mind. The other thing I would say causes a relapse is a lack of a solid support system. I talked about this also in my previous video. Having a solid support system is a fundamental key to the road of recovery. You need to have support because it's going to keep you motivated, it's going to keep you focused. You are going to understand the reason why you are actually getting clean. So having a support system is the most important key. Being sober is an everyday challenge. I'm also on that road to recovery. I joined this road to recovery a few months ago and I'm still on it after 4-5 months of staying sober. I'm still recovering from drug addiction. It's a long process, like I just said. I always keep myself focused, I always keep myself motivated, I always keep myself positive. I always try to do new things, try to go back to doing those things that I would do before I decided to join drugs. I felt depressed once, and that's the reason why I'm telling you depression it's common. It's the common cause of you having a relapse. I felt depressed once and I felt like I needed to do those drugs, but I just kept myself positive. I knew that me staying positive is actually going to take away the feeling of me being depressed and the feeling of me wanting to do something with drugs. I felt like that, and it's common, it's normal having a relapse. I did go through a relapse and I'm not looking forward to having another relapse. It'll just make me feel more regret and feel ashamed of myself, and that's where I don't want to go. So you need to stay focused. Focusedness, focused mind, focused body, all those things. You need to adapt with those things. You need to adapt with the new environment that you're in. If you've been following my videos, I also talked about the steps that can take you into the recovery program. So once you do all those things that I mentioned, it's very easy for you to recover from drugs. I did it, you can do it. And yeah, you just have to stay strong. You have to pray always. Welcome to my podcast Q&A, where I get to answer a few questions that were asked to me by my viewers in my personal inbox. So in this episode, I'm only going to answer 5 questions. You have to keep those questions. What causes a relapse and try to answer. Well, if you've been watching this video from the beginning, I talked about what caused me to go through a relapse. It was simply because I didn't commit myself to being sober for the rest of my life. I never really got into thinking about how my life would be when I'm living it sober. I never thought of myself. I thought about the people around me, the people who were supporting me at that time. I felt like I was only being pushed to doing something that I wouldn't even get to think of it like I need to do this because it's for myself. I always thought of it like if I can stay clean, they can do some things for me. So that's the reason why I relapsed. I wasn't thinking about myself. I was thinking about the people around me. I was trying to please them. And that's what caused me to go through a relapse. I felt a lot of things. I felt foolish. I felt disappointed in myself. I felt regret. I felt ashamed. I felt like the only thing I could do at that time was to involve myself with drugs to get rid of all these feelings that I felt after that. And that's the reason why I kept on doing drugs after my relapse. I kept on involving myself in drugs because I wanted to get rid of all those feelings. I just felt like I needed some space and some time to think about what's going to happen in the next 2 years or 3 years from now. And that's when I decided to get cleaned again. Yeah. Really didn't handle the situation. I never thought of handling it ever. It just reached to a point where I was in a very bad situation where it got me thinking about the people I hurt, the people I was going to hurt, the people I had lost trust, the people I was thinking a lot about all these bad things and these good things that have been happening to me and how they've been snatched away from me because of drugs. And I just had to decide whether I was going to stay clean or continue with the drugs. And at that point, that's when I decided to get clean for the second time. And it led me to a point now where I'm now talking to people about drug addiction. And don't get me wrong, people, I'm only doing this because I feel like a lot of young kids, a lot of people out there do need help, and this is just me helping them. It's me telling them that it's never too late for them to turn their life upside down. There's hope for you guys, and you just have to have faith, be strong, be courageous enough to take that first step of deciding that you need help and you need treatment. I learned a lot. I learned that you can enjoy life being sober. I learned that I need to work on myself emotionally and physically. I learned that me being influenced by my friends can lead me back into having a relapse. I also learned that by having positive thoughts all day, I can actually avoid having one and not having the experience of feeling bad, feeling worthless, feeling stupid, feeling foolish, useless, ashamed, feeling regret. Those are the things I learned after I relapsed during my recovery stage. I learned a lot actually. I don't have enough time to state the facts of what I learned. I learned a lot, and I'm still learning up to this day. I'm still learning to do certain things. I'm still learning to talk to people differently now. I'm still learning to enjoy life. That's what I'm doing. Avoid friends that are still using drugs and friends that are not interested in quitting drugs at all. You also need to avoid going to the places where you would abuse these substances, such as bars, the ghetto, places where you would easily get drugs. You need to avoid going to those places. I'd also add on by saying you need to discuss more about your drug addiction problem with close friends and family. I recommend you doing this to people who are supporting you so that they can help you be courageous and they can maintain that support that they need to give you. Having to go through a relapse it doesn't mean you're a failure. It simply means the symptoms of your drug problem have reappeared and adjustments need to be taken place during your next treatment program. Addiction treatment is a time that marks personal growth. You need to have courage, you need to have strong willpower, you need to be motivated, you need to be determined for you to even get to the recovery stage. You need to know why you're getting clean, you need to have faith that you are able to break through this drug problem that you have. A lot of people suffer through relapse, they don't really know why they are getting clean, and they don't know the benefits of being clean. They don't know none of that. So that's the reason why I did this video, just to show you that even I who went through a relapse, even I who had a relapse, I never kept myself on the ground. I kept myself up, and I told myself that I am going to quit drugs no matter what it takes, no matter how long the process is going to be, no matter how hard the process gets. I'm going to recover from this addiction that I do have. And what I kept on saying to myself was, Jesus is always going to be there for me. So if it's possible with Jesus, it's possible with me. Nothing is impossible with Jesus. That's the reason why I recover from drugs, and that's the reason why I'm telling you about drugs today. I'm trying to help somebody change their life. I'm trying to inspire people to do things that could add value in their lives, because you can't keep on hustling for a fix all the time. You can't keep on hurting people just for your own personal beings. You need to realize that life is too short. You need to enjoy life, and doing drugs isn't enjoying drugs. It's just breaking you. Yes, dying slowly in the inside. We need to step up as youths to help those people who feel depressed, who are stressed out, who are going through a hard time. And that's what I'm aiming to do. So thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful, lovely time, because I know you deserve it. For you to even get to reach this far into my video, you definitely know that something good is bound to happen, and we need to support each other. Whether we're going through hard times, whether we're going through soft times, we need to be there for each other, and that's how we can